Welcome to Eugene Cannabis TV. You made it to episode 601. And we're here to talk about cannabis and all the ups and downs. Of course, cannabis is up, the law is what's down. But anyway, just got back from Salem, second week in a row. Went up to Salem for a rally, trying to get the legislature to back off on some of the ridiculous ideas that they're having, that they want to do to the Oregon medical marijuana program. Not for, you notice, it's to. But this is a great article. I found on the internet under, it was at heavymicrogrow.wordpress.com, dated February 3rd. And it's titled, Why Mess with Good Things? Saving OMMP. I think they might have been talking about the hearing last week, is what I think they're talking about here. It starts out, the Oregon State Capitol building has once again crowded with frustrated OMMP patients, growers, processors, and dispensary operators looking to save the Oregon medical marijuana program from new rules and requirements. After over a decade of safe operations and no major federal busts, the OMMP has been a safe haven and new home for many patients from across the country. A tight-knit community has been formed between growers and patients, and even with the dispensary scene in the last few years. With Measure 91 passed into law by Oregonians last year, voters were assured that no changes would be made to the existing program, but with recreational sales and taxable income for the state on the line, those words in the bill might as well have not even been there. Many of the patients and growers feel betrayed, and some regret supporting Measure 91. Luckily, the people that helped lower penalties for possession and ushered in legal adult use of cannabis were there to help defend OMMP. Oregon Health Authority has not made OMMP a major priority over the years, with minimal requirements for testing labs, until recreation was looking at as a real industry in Oregon. Many people in the medical marijuana community see these new changes by the OHA to OMMP as a blatant move to choke operations and allow recreational farms to step right in and take the opportunity from local growers that were hoping to start a small business. During the committee hearing, the topic that small family farms would have difficulty affording major additions to their grows and would put a lot of people in violation and possibly encourage black market activity. So with this in light, the committee seems to be striking out these new requirements to allow growers to continue to take care of patients and still be able to get reimbursed through the dispensary program. There's also a sigh of relief from dispensary owners, knowing that the Joint Committee is leaning towards dispensaries serving both the holistic choice Salem, Oregon, serving both medical and recreational patrons. With the decision of closing one or the other, a survey said 80% of dispensaries would leave OMMP behind and commit to recreational sales. The same survey also showed the 98% of dispensaries would prefer dual operations, allowing tax-free transactions for OMMP patients and taxed cannabis products for recreation. This is great for patients that need high-dosage concentrates that may not be available through recreation. 100 milligram and 10 milligram portions seem to be the current projected limit for recreational edibles. Many rec customers are buying recreational cannabis flowers for its medical benefits, but due to finances or lack of health insurance, they never participated in the OMMP. Taking these high dosage products out of the hands of dispensaries or not allowing higher dosages to recreational user would lower the quality of life or prevent relief for low-income recreational users. Cutting these doses to edibles would raise the cost of producing and purchasing these holistic foods. With recreational interests and the obvious tax income for the state, these new rules and OMMP by OHA seem to be being pushed so there is an equal playing field for the incoming recreational businesses. What the committee and the OHA do not realize is that the OMMP producers have been swimming upstream for years, many working 2 jobs, and for years were unable to be reimbursed for labor. There were no years of building small businesses or government supporting education and testing through public universities. Banks still will not work with businesses involved in federally illegal substances, and yet the OHA still calls for more changes, instead of helping build a local industry. It wasn't until these OHA and these elected officials, social and professional circles started looking at marijuana as a visible industry that they started taking action towards OMMP, threatening patient access and the hopes of local cannabis entrepreneurs. Should OHA focus on OMMP more? Sure. Should this focus be more rules and plant limits, which should have hundreds of patients scrambling for new growers? No. These plant limits will force growers and patients into shady dealing or possible black market activity. OHA has proposed ridiculous plant limits for residential growers that had zero basis for reasoning, except that the amount of cannabis these farms could produce would compete with new recreational farms. This committee and the OHA seems to have once again stressed out patients, wasted taxpayers' money with meetings about senseless rules and illogical proposals. So the question is, why are OHA and Joint Committee messing with a good thing? Because it's their job. So that's pretty well put, and I wanted to tell everybody that the legislature will be in session the rest of the month of February, and on Tuesdays there's a hearing every Tuesday, the Marijuana Legalization Committee, between 1 and 3. Now, not every meeting you can, they accept testimony, so you need to check on that if you want to go up and give testimony. But Tuesday's a good day to show. There's nothing else to show up and show your support, because we need bodies. We need for these people to know that there is support for the medical marijuana program. And this is an interesting thing that I found in hightimes.com, dated February 2nd. It's written by Mark Miller. I don't know if it's our friend Mark Miller that was on the show a few weeks ago or not, but anyway, it's titled "Drive-Through Recreational Pot Shop in Oregon to be the first in the nation." The first drive-through recreational weed window in the U.S., Green Life, Oregon, will bring a new level of cannabis convenience to the legalization era with its grand opening in Gold Beach, an ocean town tucked in the southwestern corner of the Oregon coast, on April 20th. There are presently multiple medical marijuana drive-throughs prolificating the famed 8 Mile in Detroit, Michigan, as well as the original window dispensary, Sunshine Organics in Olympia, Washington. But Green Life, Oregon is slated to become the first cannabis company to sell, quote, party pot, unquote, directly to customers inside their vehicles. Oregon voters legalized recreational marijuana in 2014, and the law, Measure 91, was implemented July 1st, 2015, with retail outlets selling ganja to adults 21 and over as of October 2015. As reported by the Curry Pilot, although Green Life Oregon is a recreational retailer, the storefront has been intentionally situated on 4th Street, adjoining the Curry General Hospital. We want to make sure people have the opportunity for natural alternatives to pain medicine, as well as offer the product the voters of Oregon support. Green Life manager Jerome Paulson explained, "We also are firm believers that a reliable dispensary can help black market marijuana, keep black market marijuana off the streets, thereby reducing crime." Given Gold Beach's recent financial struggles, Curry County Economic Development Director Julie Smelzer is completely behind the Green Life Oregon drive-through venture. I've seen the business plan. I've met the investors. I believe this venture is going to be quite an asset to the area, she said. Economics don't lie. There is green in the new green. So that's a pretty positive article. Drive-through pot shop. So that's quite pretty interesting. And then we have another one. Now this is I found the marketwatch.com on the internet. It's dated February 5th by Kathleen Burke, titled "What's the cheapest place to buy legal marijuana?" Oregonians can consume legal marijuana without emptying their wallets. The Beaver State is home to the lowest average price of dispensary cannabis at $214 an ounce, according to an analysis by Perfect Price, a company that tracks the prices of a variety of goods, including groceries, cleaning supplies, and cannabis. The company looked at menu prices for cannabis flowers from about 6,000 dispensaries in 6 states, with more than 200 dispensaries, Oregon, Colorado, Washington, Arizona, California, and Michigan. Medical marijuana is legal in 23 states, while cannabis for recreational use is legal in Colorado, Washington, Oregon, Alaska, and District of Columbia. Though nearly half the country has legalized marijuana in some form, not every legalized state has fully operating dispensaries. Strict regulation and regulation processes can often delay operations after a state has decided to legalize the sale of marijuana. Legal recreational marijuana went into effect in Oregon in July 2015. However, sales didn't start until October because dispensaries had to complete the registration process. As the recreational market begins to mature over the next 3 years, prices are expected to drop below $150 an ounce, according to economics consulting firm Eco Northwest. Colorado and Washington, which both have fully operational recreational markets, are second and third cheapest at $225 and $238 an ounce, respectively. Among the cities in the states analyzed, Aurora, Colorado had the cheapest average dispensary prices of $192 an ounce. Grand Rapids, Michigan had the most expensive marijuana prices at $392 an ounce. Denver, which has a high concentration of dispensaries, has an average of $219 an ounce, while Detroit offers Michigan lenders some cost relief with an average dispensary price of $282 an ounce, slightly below the state average of $301 an ounce. The other 2 states, including the state, Arizona and California, had average dispensary prices of $290 and $299 an ounce, respectively. So there you go, folks. Here we are in Oregon, and we've got the cheapest pot in the nation up to this point. So let's hope we can keep it that way. The Oregon legislature do what they can to try to drive the price up, and especially their take of it. But anyway, we'll be back here. I'll be on the second half here shortly. But I want to encourage you to come and see us behind the Sheldon High School on Monday nights at 7:30. Stop in, say hi, visit, watch us do the show, or be on the show, whatever you like to do. We always use some company. Come on by. So be back for the second half. We'll see you there.
Are you tired of following all the rules? Ready to let loose? Have a little fun? Sounds like you need to. Get high. And with Narcomex Incorporated, your direct-to-consumer drug trafficking solution, you can. Narcomex values your business. That's why we're your #1 supplier of drugs, and you're our #1 consumer. These billions can't be wrong. We work hard for your business and have killed not 1, not 2, but 3 Mexican police and 2 journalists just to keep you high with that very joint. Why, our commitment to keeping you supplied has killed over 17,000 people right next door. Traffickers, soldiers, journalists, prosecutors, you name it. We're that passionate about your business. We've even begun to destroy some of your favorite tropical beach destinations. Because if you smoke enough at home, you don't even need a beach. But don't legalize it or grow it at home. Let us do the work for you. Sure, consumers boycotted evil companies, but there's no need to boycott Narcomex Incorporated, your direct-to-consumer drug trafficking solution, also offering heroin, meth, and cocaine. Narcomex Incorporated. Live a little, and forget others won't.
Welcome back. We made the shift to the second half of episode 601 of the Eugene Cannabis show, Eugene Cannabis TV show, and you got Dan Kuzer, or DanK, to whichever you prefer. It's your host. Talking about some news stories that I came across. Find out that Oregon has the cheapest marijuana in the United States, which we are always glad to hear things like that. And then there's this article here that I come across. It was on latinpost.com, dated February 2nd. It's written by a staff writer, titled "Marijuana Legalization in Colorado is Killing the Mexican Drug Cartels." Since 2014, Mexican drug cartels have been suffering economically after marijuana was legalized and became conveniently available in Colorado. Operations in Mexico and along the southern border of the United States have reportedly been affected. According to a ABC News article, the legal production, sale, and distribution of recreational marijuana in Colorado is one of the contributors of reduced smuggling operations by Mexican drug cartels. A post on the Weed Blog, a site that supports marijuana use and legalization, also acknowledges that drug trafficking by Mexican drug cartels waned, seeing a decline of up to 70% over the past 2 years in relation to Colorado's change in legalization. The findings were confirmed by an official report by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration in October 2015. The report indicated that there has been a year-on-year 23% reduction in border smuggling in 2014. Furthermore, authorities have seized about 900 tons of illegal marijuana along the U.S.-Mexican border. Fox News Latino noted that Colorado seized marijuana in November 2012 after a majority of voters agreed to Amendment 64. Carnegie Mellon University and the University of Maryland provided reports that showed how a black market in Colorado offered a kind of pot that has shown to be more potent than the illegal Mexican type, resulting in a decrease in drug smuggling operations among Mexican cartels. Colorado was the first state to officially offer recreational marijuana and is expected to rake in huge sales and tax revenues in the next few years, writes Motley Fool, citing the Colorado Marijuana Enforcement Division. The Motley Fool wrote that retail marijuana and medical marijuana sales totaled over $900 million in 2015. The state still has policies and limitations as to which retailers can set up shop. Colorado imposes a standard tax, a special sales tax, licensing fees, and application fees, among others. In the same ABC News article, it was revealed that some federal authorities are concerned that Colorado may have given drug traffickers a safe haven to buy or grow weed within the state and then sell these in other places where the product is banned. The violators come from various locations like Mexico, Colombia, and other nearby states. Legalizing marijuana in Colorado may have made it easier for drug traffickers to transport the product to nearby areas, which is a concern. More updates and details on Colorado's marijuana laws and effects are expected soon. So, yeah, the thing I always found interesting about Colorado is with the state fees, the price of marijuana is higher than in a retail sales store than it is on the black market. And yet, the funniest part of this whole thing is, yet they're both thriving, which just shocks the heck out of me. But anyway, that's the way it is. And so we're talking about sales, and so here we go. This is on the cnbc.com website, dated February 1st, written by Hee-Sun Wee, titled "Legal U.S. Pot Sales Soar to $5.4 billion in 2015. That's up 17.4% from $4.6 billion in 2014, according to data released Monday by the ArcView Group, which tracks the cannabis markets. The figures include medical and adult consumer sales. However, the annual gain was largely fueled by the explosive growth in consumer sales, as some states have approved adult recreational use. Adult use sales grew to $998 million from $351 million in 2014, according to the research. And voters in more states, including California, are likely to take up the issue in 2016. By many measures, 2015 was a bellwether year for marijuana, as states like Colorado and Washington paved the way for new business models and growth. Entrepreneurs have opened spa-like retail shops for adult users and medical cannabis sales. The social experiment to abolish cannabis prohibition in some instances is melding into a for-profit corporate culture. The growing cannabis market features a variety of innovative consumer-facing products such as vaporizers, edibles, and capsules. As an example, Colorado adult use sales surpassed $100 million last year for the first time. Washington State also saw strong monthly sales gains in 2015, following some threefold, with $75.3 million in sales for December from $18.8 million in January 2015. Sales of edibles and extracts in Washington already number in the hundreds and thousands of units in a single month. In 2016, it also shaped up to be an equally robust year with strong demand. ArcView estimates the legal market could grow to $6.7 billion in sales. You can't find another industry growing at that kind of clip, said Troy Dayton, chief of executive ArcView Group. In addition to publishing cannabis sector research, ArcView's investor network members have invested more than $64 million into about 104 marijuana dispensaries. The report was published in partnership with New Frontier, which focuses on cannabis data analysis. Across the country, 23 states and the District of Columbia allow medical marijuana use. 4 states and D.C. allow for adult use of marijuana. This year, 7 states could decide on whether to allow adult use: California, Nevada, Arizona, Massachusetts, Maine, Rhode Island, and Vermont. Vermont may become the first state to legalize cannabis through legislative action rather than voter approval. Beyond actual marijuana production and sales, more ancillary businesses are emerging, including security, insurance, and e-commerce companies that support the entire supply chain. Despite the growth in the market, there are potential risks, including a key one related to taxes. Under federal law, cannabis is a controlled substance and illegal. So the IRS does not allow businesses to deduct the cost of cannabis as they would for other goods sold. This inability to deduct the key cost of goods sold had made it more challenging for cannabis businesses to remain financially viable, as competition increases and prices fall over time, according to the report. On the flip side of taxes, the cannabis market can be lucrative for state coffers. Colorado collected $13.2 million in taxes and fees in August, the single highest month of tax revenue since adult sales began in January 2014, according to the report citing the Colorado Marijuana Enforcement Division. Beyond tax hurdles, rising competition is another key potential risk. New growers have entered the market, hoping to strike it rich in the new frontier of legal weed sales. Wholesale and retail market prices have increased significantly. Price pressures are forecast to continue into 2016. And there's a possibility that nervous producers, hoping to reduce excess supply, could offload inventory through fire sale prices. There is also a robust illicit market competing for the same business, according to the report. While the research did not estimate the size of the illicit market, ArcView's Dayton said the underground market is shrinking, not growing, as more legal sales come on board. Like in any boom industry, growing sales and investors are forcing the cannabis industry to adopt and grow in sophistication. There are more well-capitalized, sophisticated players getting into the space and buying up smaller players, Dayton said. We are also seeing small players grow into bigger players and increase the talent pool in their executive teams. For now, a cannabis company must obtain individual state licenses to operate and sell in different states. This makes the emergence of medium-sized companies and ultimately national brands a precursor to a public listing for an initial public offering down the line. It's trickier. But the growth among existing players is expanding, with a handful of pot companies now pocketing between 30 million or 40 million in annual revenue, Troy said. So we all knew the money was there, and that's just proving it. Unfortunately, the money is also causing greed problems, as we've witnessed in the implementation of Measure 91 and changes they're trying to make to OMMP. But however, I can report a little bit positive. Last week when we went to the Medical Marijuana Legalization Committee meeting, a couple of the members actually spoke up and sound like that they're going to get rid of some of the stupid ideas that we really were against. And so it was some of the first good news I've heard quite a while. Unfortunately, we're still stuck with some of the junk fees, so I hope that we can still kill, for instance, the $200 per grower that they want to, junk fees that they want to impose on growers, putting a big hardship again on medical patients. The state of Oregon has profited from the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program ever since its inception, and the state wants even more money out of it, and so these greedy blankety blanks are bleeding it off of sick patients, many of which are even terminal. So it's really a disgusting situation, and I don't know how a politician can look at themselves in the eye and support that kind of thing. But anyway, we do have some people in Salem, and we need a lot more people in Salem, so please join the fight. Get a hold of DanK Bagman at hotmail.com, and I'll tell you how to join up. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.